morning. Okay. All right. Let's start off. So some of you have heard these book summary series. I want to start off by just saying, again, Jim Foy, you all know my name, right? The goal during these book summary series is actually not to go over the entire book. I do my best, but it's hard to ever get a book in just 50 minutes. So Mo actually in this is really to get, at least make this interesting enough to you to where you might want to read the book. Okay, so this is going to be, yes, this book is actually, we cover this in the core PM management, but we cover only about 30 minutes. So I'll get 20 extra minutes on this one. And PowerPoint, I basically put much more in depth on than I can do in 30 minutes. So 20 minutes more in depth, at least. So this is really the premier book on negotiating. You have to know the history. This book's been around almost 40 years. So it's staying power. And it is still good. There actually have had curriculums at universities that go over negotiating because of this book. Have a seat. So, yeah, lots of books on negotiating, but I guarantee if you mention these two guys' names, Roger Fisher and William Ury, they're going to know. Anybody that's familiar with negotiating strategies, they're going to know these people. So, and I will make one other seed. There's a sequel to this book called Getting to Know, and it's awesome. I actually think it was better than this, but I have to preface that I think I was better because I was really having problems with a client at the time. He just was beating up on me, and all he could say was no. So I'll tell you a story about that at the end if I have time. So on here. Okay. I adjusted this thing. It was working. Is it because I hit a recording? Okay. All right. Okay, so here's the three main parts of the book right here. Are the problem, the big, and then that's really the meat behind this book. It gives you over how to do it. Okay. So, and then but. And the yes, but a little bit of humor in there on, what if this happens? What if this happens? Humorous parts in right here. And you'll see some of these screen captures I did, and you'll have the hard copy. I gave you guys a note. And these will come in handy for you later. We're going to go through this pretty fast. We're going to go problem. So the problem is basically that people bargain over positions. I'll explain what that means a little bit more. But basically, if you look at this little picture right here, this is really just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, so the big picture, what this book focuses on, is interest. And probably mention interest, you'll probably get tired of me saying interest. But really what this book is about is focus on the big part of the iceberg. And with positions, as you do endanger relationships, you hurt people's feelings, and we'll discuss that. Being nice is no answer. Especially engineers, because we're so damned insecure. Being nice, you think that's the solution, and it's not, because that is a typical lose-win situation where you can't stay in business if you just give in every time. This is going to be on that big part, the interest. So the problem is, which game should we play? So the typical way, when you think of negotiating, you negotiate. People think you negotiate when you negotiate for a sale of a car, a house, or a change order. You negotiate on everything done there in life. What movie are you going to go to? What food your kid does not want to eat? Does that come up? You negotiate whether you know it or not, every day, all the time. So the traditional approaches are soft and hard. So I'm not going to read all of these, so you can see soft is participants or friends, the hard is your adversaries, right? The soft is the goal is agreement. We agree. We want to give in. The goal is victory, right? Shooting mentality. I win, you lose. There's no other way. These soft people, if you look at them right here, how about mix? You're soft. Can we do this? Can we do this? or make demand this. I'm going to pay you I'm not going to pay you anything unless you deliver that submittal on time. So the two different types of traditional, hard and soft. You can still get negotiation this way. It's just
join the conference.
Optimal. You can still do it this way. I want to be clear on that. So effectively, if this is the problem, what is the solution? And by the way, if you notice the color of method, I tried to put a little motif in here. Anytime you see that color, it's going to be more of a solution-based. Red usually, although I didn't get it quite right. So that color right there. So the solution is creation. That's really what the whole book is about. Prince negotiation. I'm going to say that a lot because that's what the whole thing is about. So if you look at the two, you got soft to hard. The solution is principle. So if you look at just a couple of the line items that we went over, your friends, your problem solvers. And then you that have heard my book summer series on Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, there's a lot of Covey in here. And I probably put a little into it too, but there's a lot of think win-win, and you'll see some of that. I find right here, trust others is soft, right? This others is hard. This is interesting. Does not. It does not need trust. Perceived independent trust. I don't know if you think there's two words. They're two of the most overused words in our vocabulary. Almost trust and communication that have value. If somebody says trust me, I'd be nervous. Trust me. I had a moving business. And he said, whenever somebody's going to pay me and I've already unloaded the furniture, I say, trust me, I believe in the Lord. He expects cash when he hears that. Because I'm that. Now, when stopping here, I want to be clear, is trust is good to have. But principled negotiation should not rely on trust. Because when people leverage their trust, there's something else going on. And that's too weird. There's communication, but that's not on here. We talked about that later. What do you talk about? How to do projects the right way? It's you got to communicate more. It's all about communication, right? How many times have you heard that? Sometimes communication is important, right? But you need systems and processes that need face-to-face communication. I know that's counterintuitive. And so I do a lot of design build, right? I hate when I hear design build, it needs trust. No, it doesn't. Trust makes everything better. The Speed of Trust by Covey's son is one, and I'll get on that in the future because that's a great book. And that's why so principle does not need trust. Pros here. So principle negotiation. So basically, what's the principle of negotiation has 4 parts to it. People from the problem, interest, not and options for mutual gain. That's the brainstorming one, and we'll cover that. And it's on objective criteria. That's if the first move, then you go on that 4th one. And there's methods right there. So I'm going to go over those one by one, and they'll each have about 2 or 3 slides. So one by one. So set people from the problem. Some of these are easier said than done, and that's why I'll try to mix in some stories to make it sticky. I'll use some of the stories that they told me, mix in some of my own. But understand their thinking, right? Oh, duh. But so you got to in their shoes. So what I mean by that, that's in a sense that's easy to say. That's why I said it's the part, but it's in a way it's seems effective. That's important. Also, trying to get behind why they want something. So it's the step of trying to say, if I was in their shoes. So it's a little deeper than just their perspective, although that's important. I'm playing for your problem. I mean, when your boss is your boss, it's not their boss. If your boss is beating on you to get extra money for a change order or your wife wants to, not make the softball game. That's your buddies, and that's not your client's problem. That's your problem. Okay? And it is difficult because this is one that's very difficult for me because I really believe, but it doesn't mean I can do it all. And this one right here is cannot be efficient with people. You can be effective with people. You burn them off. So think of this as, this is so moving. Wait a minute, you got to understand them. What about me? You got to slow down, and I'm talking to myself when I was saying this. You got to slow down, take them first, think of them first. It's wasting time, and in the long run, think of it as a return on investment. It does pay off in the long run. I just have to do it more, quite frankly. Okay, so separate people from the problem, too. It's feelings. This is so important. And for technical, very, very left-brain engineers, it's hard. Everything. You've heard IQ versus EQ, I'm sure. It's much more than the left-brained engineers are. It really is. And it's changed. So I do understand it more, but recognize that their emotions. I basically say to myself is really listen with your eyes. So not look at this here. You can tell just by the look, even if she didn't have steam coming out of her ears. And so listen with your eyes. Let off steam. It's difficult, but it is very cathartic. Think of it this way. If you're letting off steam, and you're there for them to let them off the steam, you're actually helping them. It's selfish of you to let all this steam on you. It's selfish of you. But you're letting them do that, and it really helps both parties. Reactive emotional outbursts. On the make emotion explicit and acknowledge as on that one right there, it's being real, not just with their emotions, but with yours. You can be so honest here. You can tell them when you're angry. Try to, but let them know, because what it does is it takes off an onion peel a little bit. Find the more that you take, you go first. You've heard that before. Haven't you heard that? You go first. Go first. It lets them do that. Be very explicit. And what that does is you're asking for legitimacy of your emotions, but I think theirs. Their deadline, they're pressured. As soon as you acknowledge their pressures, they're open to understand pressures. And back to emotional outbursts. Again, that's easier said than done, but if you almost kind of do that mindset of that actually doing them a favor, that let them do that, you have to be confident. But what you do also is react outburst. It's called separate people from the problem. If you're into an outburst, the communication is automatically on the people. You in this case, because hurt. That's why you're outbursting, right? So there's some tricks to that which I can't go over here, but the book goes over a couple. Separate from the problem. This is, I believe, the last slide on this. It's communication, right? It is important. And seek to understand, and then what? Come on, everybody. And be understood, right? You've heard that before. So, have any of you ever heard of the Indian talking stick? Actually, it's with the Indian arena, Indian talking stick. It's what our founders in the Revolutionary War, we learned this from the Indians, basically, and it's a method of first you seek to understand. You have a talking stick and you give it to them. You can use your keys or anything, but you let them go first. You hear, and then you listen actively. What does that mean? Listen actively. That means that you try to repeat what they said in your understanding, in your words. This is listening, which is where you just repeat what they said. So I feel that I understand this is what your concerns are. You've got to make the deadline to start school, and you need these plans done so you can get your permits. And yes, you understand me. You get the talking stick. You can Google talking stick mentality. So I'm not saying you have to do that. The whole mentality is, first listen, you go first. But keep in mind, the other part is you do go. I think you just do a bunch of understanding, right? You have to go. Because the only way this works is for them to understand you and your interests as well. But the important thing here is speak to be understood. You know, what the hell is that? Am I always speak to be understood? There's a deeper level here, though. This understood is really not what you necessarily want, but it's letting them know your interests. So, if I change order, that's my decision. Interests are, I want to get a raise so I can feed my kids. So you can see how it's more end results, and we'll dig into that a little bit. So it's speak understood your interest, and we're gonna go into interest in the next slide. Position. Just remember, I'm gonna park that for you there, okay? Face another one too, because face the problem, not the people. And this is actually figuratively and literally. You're not focusing on the person, you're both focusing on the problem, but also literally. And I'll slide a couple slides that are coming up. Literally face the problem. Okay? Okay. Assuming that you're focusing all on the problem and not the people, right? You've moved on. Now on the interest. I planted that a couple times, right? The interest. That's some examples of how they're different, because it's not always intuitive. So if you look at these two, the interests are behind the position. So let me give you a real quick an example. Give you an example. Is this book things as far as what interests and not positions? If they want to do this, interests are what's behind it, right? So an example would be the Cuban Missile Crisis is the Egyptian and Israeli peace treaty. I'll tell you the difference was. You guys have a missile crisis, right? The Russians were going to put Cuban missiles in Cuba, right? Or the nuclear weapons in Cuba. And that's a perfect example of focusing on positions. They just got escalated, because we wanted them out of there, that's the position. They wanted them there, that's the position. We put an embargo to stop them, we were going to do all these things. Those are all positions. Why did they want them there? Why not for that? Now look, Egyptian Treaty of 1979. Because you had the 6 Days War where the Israelites, they basically entire peninsula, Sinai Peninsula. That's it. Eden invaded for 2,000 years. They were invaded by so many people. That for thousands of years. It was on and on and on. They were going to give that up. But American in Camp David, they basically focused on interest. And they why? This was Egypt, and it was because it's been for thousands of years. It's ours. It's part of heritage. You take away part of our body if you take that land away. Israel won it. Why did you take it? We just by Egyptians, we've been bombed by nowadays is the Hamas or the different. We have safety. They said we can need that. They created a demilitarization zone. And this they have so they took even any military stuff in there. And then I have it behind the slide. In the bone, I have a slide of that when I end this those you want extra. Okay. So that's an example. They focus on the interest. If you look at it again, the technique is to focus. People have more. Yeah, I'll finish this in 50 minutes. People more common ground. This bottom triangle, that's common ground. People use that area of common agreement to build in them. Have you ever been arguing with somebody and they could be listening to you for once, and then as soon as you say something, pick up on that point? Why? Because there are areas of common agreement. They're letting you yap away. Just wait until you say something they can disagree with. It actually happens. They just get in debate and gun control. I mean, you could be an observer. So I'll just try to give you just a real quick view. I'll kind of give you a view of what's the difference in interest and ambition. You're making a bike for somebody. Bike? You're gonna sell it. Not a bike. That's they want to like. You're close. That's actually ambition too. They get exercise and they want to get out in the fresh air and wind in their hair. So that's the challenge. It's when you see when I see ends in mind and use covering in the future in the next couple of slides, that's what I'm talking about. The ends in mind are directly related to the interests, not the and so end in mind thinking, identify the interest. You see there's a little spin on it because I talk about ends in mind all the time on meetings and all that, just on the interest. Hey, recognize that's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay? I think that's a whole lecture in itself. But how do you do this? How do you do this? Is I gave you a little bit of the keys when I was talking about these rails. Is ask the question why. And so why do you want to ride that bike? Why do you land? It's that hard to do. It can be fun. Because then you find, you know, you'll find that there's other ways to do that. The most question is to ask why and why not. And here's the interesting thing is that we're fine. They want your change order signed, or you want the bike, or you want, down to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, hopefully you're a little familiar with this. If you're not, I can talk to you afterwards on it. It's human needs. Last one. The most powerful interests are human needs. It is not opening the school on time. Going to the movie you want to go to. It is when it's safety, right? I want to go to the movie because I really I'm never ever heard. I don't like opinion matters. It's not that you like that movie. This is so hard for us engineers to get is that the next time you hear a client or somebody or your spouse or your kid wants something, look and think, what do they really want? Because you probably find another solution they didn't think about. And then I love this writing because just remember that those are the most needed, but satisfied needs, not satisfied. That's different PowerPoint together. So get off that point. Okay, so I know the mutual interest, okay? So then on that, you now know, you're focusing on the problem, you know what they're interested in, you really got there. They believe, they understand your interest. So you're making good progress here. We know that we don't need the order, but they know why I need it. We get the plans and improves it, not because it's, May 31st, because we know that they need it to start construction when it's out. So you're really making progress. So that, and you invent options for mutual gain, because now you think to yourself, okay, we know others, how can we, how I need that. Three main obstacles. Obstacles are searching for a single answer. So what do you answer? You did all the things we just talked about. We know the interest, but the thing is the belief that, okay, we understand the interest, but there's only one way to satisfy my interest. But that's the tricky thing about this. It is so easy to fuck. You know it all? After you listen to this, you have this PowerPoint, it's easy to slip right back into it. So I know this, but wait a minute. But there's only one way to satisfy my interest, and that's to make sure that I get this change order signed. Now, that's subject pie. That's having the mentality of, that perfect scarcity mentality. Either I get it or you get it. And then it's solving the problem. Solving them is their problem. That's obviously a problem because then you're just looking out for yourself. So if these are the obstacles, let's find ways to hurdle these obstacles. Hurdle obstacles. win-win. I got to say, this is more than just words. A lot of people will use the word think, win-win, and I'm not sure if they even know what it means. And I confess, probably it took me years to really see it. And I can tell you a story later that I don't have time to, why I really had the awakening almost with that time shift of what that came about. But you have to win-win. You have to just think that there is an option. We are both smart, but all. I thought about it. Let's get together. Grow the pie. Now, I was one of 7 kids. If you want one piece of pizza, it's as simple as that. There's no mentality that you can make the pie bigger, okay? And this shows brainstorming. Those of you that know me, I love to brainstorm because, look, I'm not the boss number. I'm not the smartest guy. I know how to put together smart brains and get good ideas. Never mind. So, if you know what you want and what they want, you got this win-win area. So you heard this story right here about 2 little kids and the orange. This way, the kids and the orange. There's only one orange. Okay. It is bad, by the way. This is you probably, I mean, whatever. You both get some. Right? It's not a solution. It's a fair solution. Not going into that. So, or doing whatever you were going to do with it. You then, when you actually wanted to make a pie, you only needed to peel. And you eat the orange peel. The lowest level of finding interest, you would have not identified. That's not a long brainstorming session, right? I'll go on flex ones because when you have multiple ideas, that's very simplistic. And just as I found this fascinating. Loved was A Beautiful Mind about John Nash movie. I don't know what he got the prize for. It was for this. He has a formula to do why he got it. I love that movie. I bought it for my kids, actually. I haven't watched it with them. The judge actually came up with this theory, I think, from a mathematical standpoint. So, I mean, I'm going to try to just go over kind of the guides. The next one's a guide. And those of you that know me, I hate the word rule. Give me guidelines. I'm smart, you know what I mean? Give me, So, it's kind of time, because there's more to tell here. Okay. So, no criticism. Nowadays, when you look at it, okay, no criticism. But trust me, let me tell you why and ideas about criticism. Have you ever heard the term idea ski? So that's just throwing your ideas up on it. I love, doing the board, and that's why I record ideas in full view. Well, wait a minute, Jim, I could run down on a pad. No. Get them up on a board so everybody can see because, they wrote what I thought. But no criticism. This is so important. I'll tell you why. And we get our answer. And we're talking about storm drain. You're talking about a water line. How many years are you going to get at a car? None. After that. Even with this, so if you have a brainstorming system, we're figuring out what goes in a hydrology study or something like that. We got to do the tributary basins, and we got to get stick figures of the storm drain layouts. And then you're going along, and then 10 minutes later, Josh says, we got to get stick figures of the storm drain layout. You don't. That's already up there. You run. Why do you do that? Same reason. Hidden critique by saying, Josh, because Josh doesn't hear my innocent, which is up there. Josh hears, I just found out that I haven't been listening to the whole scene, and they know that I'm not listening now. I absolutely believe this is true. So what you do is you basically, criticism, you get them all in full view, and then you sit on the same side. It's important because what does that do? They literally look at this board. See how they're all in this photo? They're all looking at the board. Because what we're doing literally now, not figuratively. What are we doing? And do this test. When you do, even not in a non-confrontational way, face-to-face, it's intimidating. It's annoying sometimes. And then it's confrontational. If you have a difficult conversation you're going to have with somebody, do it on a walk. Be shoulder somebody, and you will see the difference in talking to somebody face-to-face on a difficult conversation than going for a walk. You're forced to be almost shoulder to shoulder. You and that conversation goes so much smoother. Shoulder, you're kind of both walking around talking about what your concerns are. Same thing. This is, and it really does help. So, literally, and this is literally not for you. So here's some, like rules. So here's the brainstorming guide. It ends in mind, and that means what? It means it's not the position. So as soon as you've had somebody, and Clyde's going to cover this, is that they want whatever. You got to say, no, that's not. What are your interests? Always make sure you're knocking it back down to the interests. Okay, positions. There's no brainstorming on positions. That's a position. You're done. So do not only clarify. So when you are getting the ideas on the board, just get them up there. Just get ideas up there. You know, you can followers. Now, you're getting these ideas up there. You don't hurt people's feelings, and because there's never a bad idea. There's never a bad idea, is there? How many times have you heard that? That's a lot of bad ideas. You tend to kid ourselves. There's terrible ideas out there. The thing is, it doesn't matter. And the terrible ideas, I'm going to show you why you actually need crazy bad ideas. When you're out there, then you do the pairing and the sharing, and then prioritize. So pair them. What's pairing them? That's because Josh wasn't listening, and he said the same thing twice. Pair those together, and what's happening? And there's at least 2 minutes that have gone down. There's a degree of separation. Nobody really remembers that Josh is the one that isn't listening. I'm just Josh, I'm just that's fine. But he's really the only one that remembers. And that degree, that time gives a degree of separation. Then we're saying, oh my gosh, who said that we need that all order items to make this work? You throw those out. Again, there's that degree of separation. There's no hurt feelings. Plus, you got all your ideas out of it anyway. I'm joking there, but so very prioritize. And now here's why you need the crazy ideas. Because I always raise it up. There is no way these cellular phones are not invented with some stupid ideas that come in, and the stupid, crazy ideas. And this is how it works. You're always kind of going in the same direction. It's a little different because we're different people, right? And then he comes up with some crazy idea. What crazy idea? Because it just, Vector. You got to be engineering. Remember Vector? Right? Boom, all of a sudden it changes the group. The whole group is going that direction. Would have never gone in. If you've ever listened, when you start a brainstorming session, they're usually slow. Nobody went. As soon as he says something, if you think of something else. I've done this so many times. Oh, and then all of a sudden people are just almost talking to themselves, which is a good point. You got 2 writers. So you're up there. It doesn't matter order. Right? So you get a different, then all of a sudden, you think you're making pretty good progress, discussing it, and then what the heck comes in here? Another crazy idea. And it's over and over and over again until you send people to, the moon in 9 years, or by 1969, we send people to the moon. Do that without doing this crazy ideas. And rarely you act on that, but it causes the greatness. They made for themselves. No good. It was the catalyst of what these powerful things that we've created. The book actually came with, you can tell it's about 20 years old. You'll notice that. Oh, did I lose it already? My book actually came with a card that has this on it. So this is just a process a little bit. I'll go over this really quick because there are multiple options. When you have interest, because interest, how do you get there? I mean, there's multiple options, and then the book has this little wheel right here. And I'm not a fan of this wheel, quite frankly. I know the concept. I like just the brainstorm, but this is basically saying specific, general, specific. So you step on in the lower specific, general, specific. So step one is specific. You figure out what the problem is, which is, remember, the interest.
Has left the conference.
Right? Then you go general. So then you think on theory, like all those, what are some, why do you want that? Dig up from general. Then the approaches are, how can we solve this interest? Kind of begin. And then your action ideas. That's where you pair and there you thin is that process. So the book goes over that. But I consider here is dovetailing different interests. Do you guys know what dovetailing is? It's got decorational definitions, but there is specific negotiating. You know what a dovetail is literally in carpentry, right? So it's when, it looks like a little wide and then it's narrow and it fits in wood. It's a joint. So it's one of those different interests, and this is a very important thing that Rick Rubin, my old boss, taught me, is what value to them and made effort to you. So their big side and your little side, you match. So you've heard the saying time, risk, money, or you've heard, you can either quick or you can have it cheap or you can have it high quality. Right? Because Joe's actually right. You can only pick two. Thing is that for that school that wanted to open by or get you going by May 31st or say September 1st, I'm going to start our school, everything to them. They work for time. So the point is trying to find, it's not just that you have, this is the interesting part. It's not just about finding different interests and that could be a cause of a problem. Different interests can actually be your solution. It's good. Different interests can argue. No. You put interests together, and it makes a solution. As simple as when you stock. If you think it's going to go up, it wouldn't sell. You'd have no deal. One person thinks it's going down. That's how you have the deal. So think of yourself that you want to look for the areas of what would be potential argument. No. Tell your ideas and your solution. And there's a cool story on this. If I have enough time, it's a great story on bottom of a pond. I'll tell you a story. It's not going to come off with it. Do that one later because it's a really great story tells you the difference between important one person wasn't the other, and they totally made beautiful harmony. Remind me of a pond and sand. There's only one slide on this, and still a little. Usually, you'll get really close to getting that shorter sign or something. I'm putting in our. But you tighten button. If you haven't got the done is this is powerful. It's this objective criteria. So this is it's almost kind of passive good cop, bad cop. You say to yourself, you do it like, hey, it's not me, it's the standards we have to follow. But the important here is that
has left the conference.
It's not you, it's not the other person. This is what the industry does. So all this, and there's stories on there on building a house and structural, cutting the corners of it, but I can't go into that too much. But the important takeaway is yield to the principle, not pressure. And what's the principle? The principle is the standards. You can't be pressured into designing a building with less, structural thickness of supports that the code has. Hey, I'll pass because money is important to you. I'll pay you a little more because money is important to you, right? And don't yield. So keep the don't yield to that. This is the principle. The code. Yes, but what? Yes, what if they're more powerful than I am? What if what if they don't want to negotiate? They're jerks. What if they do dirty tricks? You just don't play. Negotiate jujitsu. Or I have one slide for each of these, and I'll explain. So what is develop BATNA? Okay, so several of you probably know what a BATNA is. So that's your alternative to negotiated agreement. So the thing is you have to know what your BATNet is and theirs is. Because you're going for, you're going to buy a house. Would be to find other houses you could buy. Right? When this is your dream house and they know it's your dream house, then it's nice. And you can know their BATNet. Now, what's it take to find out there? I don't know the person that well. But this process actually does take a little bit of effort. You have to prepare. In fact, you'll find all these yes buts. You have to prepare. Well, and I found over the years that the person that prepares the most usually does well in negotiation. And not to say win in negotiation. Right? Winning in negotiation. Win, have won with that person. So, time comparison, you got to do a little research, figure out what your BATNet really is, figure out what their BATNet is, and you have that. It helps actually both parties, but it'll help you. Well, what if they just want to play? They don't want to negotiate. What is this business about India talking stick and brainstorming? They don't want to do any of that. Well, if they are aggressive, but I don't, by reading the book, I learned about it. So basically, when they attack or they push back, you agree with them. Actually, jujitsu is you get out of the way. You use your own power against them, right? You don't push up like sumo wrestling is pushing up against that power. This isn't that. They push back on you. You get out of the way. Oh, I'm telling you, if you want to disarm somebody, agree with them. I would just become stutterers. Stuttered. But you agree with them and you give it some, and a lot of times they do have good points, so they're not hard. You're not making it up. Why criticism? That's the why question. And here's a good example on the Egyptian thing. Is a scenario of when the Egyptian and Israelis were negotiating. What if I was to go, the negotiator for the Israelis was saying, what if we were to go back to our parliament or whatever their government system was and say, we're going to give back to Jones. So I know we won the war and all this. We're going to give it back to them, and we're getting nothing for it. Well, Sadat, and who's going for them, started laughing. Said, well, they wouldn't be very happy in their homeland. They probably would be killed. So yes, you invite criticism. I like to say, tell me where I'm crazy. And I mean that because when I get there, tell me where you guys have all heard me say that they work with me. Tell me where I'm easier. Tell me where I saw the beam. Say that all the time. I'm doing exactly that. I'm inviting criticism. And when I like the people on my team, I actually am rooting for them to prove me wrong. On a soccer. This one for me, as those of you that do know me, you got it. But I'll tell you what, if you can pause and not say anything, it's yourself. That, as in somebody doesn't want to. It can done them almost as much as lastly on this one is this is a very fairness. It's a very powerful word. What? And very overt. No tricks here. You're saying we just want a fair resolution. We want things to be fair. Why is that so powerful? There's not even an interest. Who that's interested in anything that really has any relationships with anybody can argue with fairness? I want this not to be fair. They want to win a negotiation. Very powerful word is redundant. We just want it to be fair. We want it to be fair to all parties. Say, what if they use? Let me check the time here. I'm not too that. What if? And I mean, you just know they're lying. Sometimes you don't know they're lying. I mean, what if they have ambiguous authority? That's beauty. You've done all the things we've talked about, and you even got a solution. And then they say, my boss, the tactic. That's a tactic. So with them, get their decision power, because that is a tactic. I want to come back and renegotiate. The one way to address that, because I'm giving you some solutions here, is if you basically say, okay, understand you need to do that, but understand if it's not exactly how we said it, then I'm going to have to go back and talk to my boss, or I'm going to have to open up negotiations. I haven't seen this used a lot in our, but it does happen, where they actually put you to where you're facing the sun, or you lower seats. I haven't seen that done too much, but it can be done. It's the opposite of getting on the same side of the table. And it does. But feel you can, personal tax, feel that you can go to the balcony. And the phrase go to the balcony is that you can take a break and actually leave. You can, keep things off, think things are. So now, I actually gave you a bonus slide here because what I did was I put one in just for us. The book doesn't have this next slide. This one's just for us, and you guys are going to recognize this. And no can grow. So you can't do with dirty tricks, but I could. What if they use dirty tricks? No, they use typical tricks. Now, this is 7 years of doing this. All 5 of these. Yeah. You get these are non contracts, so it's specific to us. You get a change order. Oh, wait a minute. Nobody else asking for a change order. What's this business? The answer is, I can't speak for other people's contracts. I don't know my contract. And this word we're talking about isn't in our contract. So there's these, but there's how about, wow, we're a team player. Right? Everybody else is working with us. But aren't you a team player? Yes, we are. We are a team player, and we can't be on the team if we can't, make a profit, or if we can't lose everything. I won't be a team player very long. How about this one? All the time. Alone. I mean, on a contract, clients think we're omniscient. You count on that one on the standard of the industry. It's part of the it's a part of the industry standards. It's objective criteria. So that all of our contracts, be very careful that it says you're doing all your work to the state industry, not to that standard. I put it all together. Kurt gives that lecture in our core PM that the standard is not even verbal. If you sign that, you're actually hurting them because our insurance won't cover it. So we don't know everything. And Kurt says we know everything. How about it? You're working with this client a long time. It's a big job. Well, we're giving you so much work. Come on. Just slip one under. It's not, If you just come back and say, we appreciate all your work, and we want to do more work with you. Got to be able to make sure that we're compensated because I got to pay my guys. So there may be better answers than this, but I'll get to punchline. But this one right here is we need you to resubmit a submittal. You said 3 submittals, and they're going to 3 and 4 and 5. You try to point back again. Your contract itself. I don't like going to contracts usually. I say leave. You're going to a contract. You're going the wrong direction. So try to go to contract. Just try to stay with say, look, I know, but we only put so much for our submittals. It's 100 times, right? You still excited that the dinghy says the original contract, and then the yacht says change order. Okay, one more thing I'm going to do. So this book, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to end on this. So basically, the problem, the method, and yes, but the problem is positional bargaining. Don't do it. Get interest. The method is principal negotiation. Don't be trust. And then, but what the takeaway there is just be prepared. Don't be naive on those. So I'm going to end on this. We're going to do a little thing and see how much you guys have picked up on this thinking win-win. And so, arm wrestling positions. Just pick a partner here. Come on, just start. Get on the table. No, you can. No, don't get me. You don't have a table here. Come on now. Okay. There's everybody's in there. Okay. Okay. So what if we're going to play games? We're going to end it on this. Come on. One more person. Denise, arm wrestling. Okay. So now the game is. I'm going to give you 1,000 points. You can score the most. Your first top 4. I'm going to give you 1,000 1,000 points. So you're going to have to keep your own score. Keep your own score. You get 1,000 points if you can make the other person's arm touch the back of the table. Right? You can count. Go.
Wait, really? I got 1,000. Are you serious?
Go. Did I win?
This is my right hand. This is so weird.
All right. So think about what we've been talking about. You can end it now. So how are we talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, think about what we've been talking about.
Oh.
1 for you, 1,000 for me. 1,000 for you, 1,000 for me. 1,000 for you, 1,000 for me. You would win a game, and I was actually tempted to give away a gift certificate, but I didn't want you guys throwing things.
We're good there.
Okay, change the game. It's not about winning. You said win. It's this. Ding, ding, ding. You here? You here? And you're, if you both keep your 1,000 points, you both win. And you both come out rock stars. In other words, you can change the game. It's not about winning. If you got anything else from that, I think it's not about winning. It's about you both winning. And it's about you getting the best. So that's it. And then I can go for questions. There's 2 more slides here. I always love this one. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The most important one is Wi-Fi on the bottom here. I saw another one that actually has battery under this one. Here's the finite one. So this is the demilitarization zone. So the PowerPoint as well. So, okay, I took up pretty much the whole 50 minutes. Are there any questions? I do have a couple extra books for free if you guys want it.
Conference.
But are there any questions?
Do you have extra books?
Because I steal them.
Oh.
No, I have, it's interesting because of all the books I have, there's 4 books I have extra copies of, and I buy them. This one I actually got a few from the 4 p.m. group, but I got smart, like Covey. I got extra
Has
copies.
left the conference.
I got smart and started buying used ones. I used to buy new ones. Now I buy used ones, but I give them away for free if people want them. If anybody wants a Covey book, just come to me and I will buy them for you if you want a Covey book. My cost.
The conference.
The other books are yes and book on leadership, and the other one isn't dated, but it's a great book called Happiness is a Serious Problem. And so I give them away to you, and I usually I have 100 students. I use 1 or 2 people that want the book. I'm doing a terrible job on these summaries. So hopefully you all got some of that and got interested in negotiating and having those ways to make everybody happy. All right? All right, thanks. Thank you.
Has left the conference.
Aaron.
Has the conference. Has left the conference. Has the conference.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
I don't know if this thing was.
Kevin.
Has left the conference.
Can you tell me if
Has
this
left
thing
the conference.
Can you still go to meeting or appear meeting? Information video. It's going to be one of these things. It's one of these here. So, let's go to meeting.
I hit play and I hit record and it was going and I didn't turn it off. So if it didn't work.
Oh, it's down here.
So hope
recording here.
Oh, that's okay. Thanks.
Nope, you're at 54 minutes. Recording. Stop. There we go. I want to stop the recording.